Hello, this is Avik and welcome back to my channel. So in this video, let us try to solve this particular question on this combination of UDL and UVL. So in my previous video, you have seen how to draw the shear force diagram and the bending moment diagram in case of UDL and also in case of a UVL. So in case of UVL, we have seen that the value of load is gradually increasing from 0, right? So if you look here, the value is not increasing from 0, but it is increasing from a certain value, that is 800. So this is increasing from 800 to a value of 1600, throughout the beam, right, uniformly. Right. So basically we have to apply a different approach to solve this kind of problems. Okay, so for that what we will do is we will divide this load into two parts, that is one UTL and one UDL. So basically we can do this. So if you just draw a line parallel to this beam, so this portion, this rectangular portion is my UDL and this portion is my UVL. So you can see here in this UVL the value is gradually increasing from 0 to a value which is not 1600 but 800, right, because we have divided this. So this is 800 and it is throughout the beam, it is same. So this, right, I hope this is clear. Again I'm repeating, the value of this beam, we have just divided this value into two parts, one this UTL and another this UVL. And as the value of this value is continuing in this UDL portion, so when this is 800, this will also be 800 newtons and the remaining will be 800 newtons. So the total will be 1600 as given. Okay, so now we already know we have to find the values of reactions. So see, in the leftmost we have a pin joint or a hinged joint, and we'll be having two kind of reactions. One is horizontal, let us say this is XA, and one will be acting vertically. So let's say that is my RA. Okay, and this is a pin, this is a roller joint, so we will have only one direction, only one reaction, that is RB. So how to find this values of RA and RB? We'll be just equating the summation of forces along the y-axis with 0, right? Okay, so this XA will be 0 because there is no other force to counterbalance, or there is no other force which is acting in the horizontal direction. Okay, so XA will be 0. Okay, so summation of Fy, so I'll be considering the upward forces as positive. So RA and RB is acting upwards, so positive, and this will be balanced with the forces which are acting downwards. So what are the forces which are acting downwards? These are this loading basically. So let us first consider this UDL. So what will be the value of UDL? It will be this unit loading multiplied with this total span of the beam, right? So it is basically 800 into this total span of this beam, that is 5. And where it will be acting? It will be acting centrally on the beam, that is somewhat here, right? So let me just draw this. So this UDL, this value of UDL will be acting here. So the magnitude of this will be 800 into 5. Okay, what else we have? We have this UVL, right? And we know how to find the value of UVL. We just have to find the value of this area of this triangle. So this is half, base is how much if you consider this as your base, so basically that's 800, and this height, if you consider this, it will be 5. Okay, as simple as that. Just do the simplifications. So you will be getting RA plus RB equals to 6000 newtons. So here in this equation you have two variables, so now you need something to find the values of RA and RB individually. So for that we'll take moment about B. Okay, you can also consider A, that's up to you, but just let me consider A, it will be much easier. Okay, so I'm taking moment about A to be 0. So I'll be considering the clockwise movements as negative and the anti-clockwise as positive. Okay, that's my sign convention. Okay, so see, moment about A means see, first of all, this RB will try to rotate the beam anti-clockwise. Okay, so it will be positive. So this is my force. What will be the value of my moment multiplied with this perpendicular distance? That is 5, right? What else we have? We have this one which is acting downwards. So it will try to rotate the beam in the clockwise fashion. So minus 800 into 5. So this is my force. Okay, this is my force. What will be the distance? This distance will be this much. That is, it is acting centrally. So this much will be my perpendicular distance. So it is nothing but 5 by 2. Okay, what else we have? We have the force due to this UVL. So where will be this UVL acting? This UVL will be acting on the centroid of the beam. Okay, on the centroid of the beam. So let us just write. Okay, so this was our value. Okay, so since it's acting at the centroid of the beam, so we know that the centroid is located at a distance of 1/3 from the base. Okay, so if I just consider this as my base, so this is a point which is at the distance of 1/3 from this base. So we need this distance. Okay, this distance, this is 1/3, right? So what will be this distance? This is nothing but 2/3. As simple. So 2/3, and what else we have? This whole span is 5, right? So this is a kind of uniformly distributed, not UDL basically, but it is uniformly distributed, uniformly varying, right? It is uniformly varying. So to find the total loading which is acting, we will multiply this with the whole span, that is 5. Okay, so this is this will be equals to 0. Okay, so if you just calculate this value with the help of your scientific calculator, you will find the value of RB to be 3333.33 newtons. You just put this value over here in this equation. Okay, we'll get the value of RA as well. So it will come out to be as 2666.67 newtons. So the reaction calculation is over. Let us just write this value. So RA is 2666.67. Done. So now we have to find the shear forces, right? Okay, so let's proceed. So for finding the shear forces, we have to consider a section. So let us say I'm taking any section, because we have no other point loads or anything on the beam. So if you take only one section, our problem will be solved. So basically section AB will be the only section here. So I'm writing section AB. Okay, so let me just draw this section over here. So this is it. Okay, this is my UVL as well as UDL. Okay, so this is at the distance of x from the origin. I'm considering the point A to be my origin. We have this force which is acting upwards, that is my RA, and I've already got the value of RA, that is 2666.67 newtons. Okay, what else we have? So we have this one, this load due to this UDL, which is acting centrally of this whole span, that is x. So the magnitude of it will be how much? The UDL is 800. So what will be the total load? It will be 800 multiplied with this span, that is x, right? And we have another thing, that is the load due to that UVL. So it will be acting at the centroid. so something somewhere here. So what will be the value of this? I'm writing it here. What will be the value of this? This will be the area. Okay, so half into base, how much? That is x, and height this much. So what is this? So how to calculate this? I have already discussed in my last video that if you can calculate this by applying the rule of, or the law of similarity, more precisely the Thales theorem, right? So for that, let us just draw this whole triangle, okay. So let me just align this. Okay, so this whole UVL is there. This is 800, right? This is 800, and we have cut this section over here, somewhere here. So basically we need this value, right? This length. So this one is x, the distance from the origin, and the total is how much? Total is 5 meters. Okay, so by applying Thales theorem, the ratio of corresponding sides are equal. So basically x by 5 will be equals to how much? This is, so let us suppose this to be my y. So y by this 800. So we need y, so just subject y. So we'll be getting y equals to how much? 800 by 5 into x. So we have to multiply this value. So basically it is half x into the value of y, which is 800 upon 5x. Okay, so now let us frame the shear force equation. Okay, so for that, let the shear force equation be Sx. So Sx be equals to, I'll be considering the upward forces as positive. So 2666.67. Okay, this is acting downwards, so it will be 800x, and this will also act downwards, so it is minus. So let us simplify this. So see, this is 2 into 5, 10. So 10 when 800 when divided by 10, it will give you 80, and you have 2x, so x square. So just let me check once. Okay, it's fine. So now you need the value of shear force at A and at B, because we have no other sections in between, right? So shear force at A, when you try to find the shear force at A, you have to put x equals to 0. Okay, if you put x equals to 0, then the shear force at A will come out to be this. These terms will become 0, obviously. And now the shear force at B, so for that you have to put x equals to 5. So what is the main agenda? The main funda is just to compress the beam, x equals to 0, and to gradually increase the beam, increase the span basically. So here we have no other point loads on nothing, so basically we just have 2 points, that is A and B. So if you put here the value of x as 5, you'll be getting the shear force at B to be a negative value. So that is 4 3s means 3333.33 newtons. So basically we can see that from shear force, we consider shear force A to shear force at B, the value is actually changing from positive to negative. Means at some point the shear force is becoming 0, right? And can you name that point? I have already discussed in my previous video. That point is called the point of inflection. So the point of inflection is a point where the shear force, the value of shear force becomes 0. Or we can also say the point at the point of inflection, when the value of shear force becomes 0, the value of bending moment becomes maximum. So basically we need that point. So how will you find that point? The value of shear force becomes 0, so basically we just have to equate it, this equation, with 0. So Sx will be 0. We are just finding the value of the inflection. So this, that is 2666.67 minus 800x minus 80x squared, this will be equal to 0. So you just put this value in your scientific calculator, and you will find the value of x as, let me just check once. So it will be x equals to, will be 2.637 meters. Okay, so from the origin at a distance of 2.637 meters, the value of shear force will become 0. So now just point out the value of this, the values of shear force on the SFD. Okay, so at point A, when x equals to 0, the value of shear force is positive. So actually I've kept not much space over here, so let it be here. So here let it be 266.67. okay, and the shear force at BI is minus negative of minus of 3333.33. so it will be somewhere here. Okay, and at the value of x equals to 2.673 from the origin, the value of shear force becomes 0. So this is 5. So before this will be my 2.5. so the value of x equals to 2.63 will be somewhere here. Okay, so here the value of shear force is 0. So let us consider this point to be my point C. This is my point A, this is my point B. So how will you join this point A and C? So for that, just check the degree of polynomial that we have. Okay, so it is a quadratic polynomial or a 2-degree polynomial, so it will be using parabolic curves to join these lines. Okay, okay, fine, right. So this is positive and this is negative. So after this shear force diagram, let us try to frame the bending moment diagram for this particular section. So bending moment mx will be equals to, so by sign convention, sagging moment will be positive and hogging moment will be negative. So let us first consider this. Okay, so this will try to sag the beam, so basically this will be positive. So 266.67, this is the force. What will be the value of the moment multiplied by this distance x? Okay, so x, fine. Okay, so now this will try to hog the beam like this. Okay, so it will be minus 800x. This is my load. What will be the value of the moment multiplied by this perpendicular distance? So it is basically x by 2. And what else we have? We have this acting on the centroid of this, so basically this will also try to hog the beam, right? So this is the value of force, 800.5. let me just write x square over here. I'm just multiplying x with this. Okay, and what is this distance? This is my 1 by 3 of x, because we know the centroid acts at the point 1 by 3 distance from the base. Okay, so if you just simplify it a bit, so you'll be getting 266.67x minus 800 by 2, so this is actually 400x square minus 80 by 3 x cube. So for finding the bending moment at A, you have to put x equals to 0, right? For finding the bending moment at B, you have to put x equals to how much? X equals to 5. Okay, and for finding the bending moment at the point of inflection, okay, that is the point C, you have to put x equals to 2.637. and if you put these values, you will be getting the values of bending moment as follows. So this is the value, and this is nothing but my maximum moment. Okay, so I'm writing m max because it is acting at the point of inflection. Okay, fine. And if you put x equals to 0, you'll be getting 0. You already know this, and this will also be 0, right? So let us just plot. So here the value of bending moment is 0. This is my A, This my B here is also 0, and at a point of C, that is somewhere here, the bending moment is maximum, which is 3761.5 Newton meters. So how will you join this curve? We'll join this curve by a, see, this is a cubic polynomial, right? So we will join this by a cubic parabola. Okay, so this will be something like this. Okay, so this completes our SFD and BMD, in case of a combination of UDL and UVL. So I hope the concepts are clear. If this video helps, please do show your support by liking this video, sharing this video, and subscribing to my channel. So till my next video, take care.